And welcome into your college football predictions with you here every week with Andy Bryson of LouisianaGridironFootball.com. Oh, so close to that prediction that LSU was supposed to upset Alabama. What did you learn? What did you learn from that game? Because you were right on several points, but what did you learn about LSU?
I learned that the defense came out and they just dominated. I mean, I guess you'd say learned, but we already knew. The defense just dominated that game. Offensively, I think the LSU Tigers have stepped it up a notch from the Ole Miss game to this game. Darius Geis had more yards rushing in this game than Fournette did the last 2 years in a row combined. So I mean, this was a great game. This was a hard-fought effort. I think there's a couple miscues in there that could have probably cost them a game, but you know, I think it was just a couple of plays was really the difference in that game.
What I learned, when the defensive line is finally healthy and shows up, you talk about Rashard Lawrence and Arden Key back there causing havoc. This team really can be one of the top 10 teams in the country. I think we knew talent-wise it was there. They're really starting to put it together. Can that defensive line, though, wake up for an 11 a.m. kickoff versus Arkansas?
That's going to be a tough one. I think the Tailgaters need to wake up for that game there, too. LSU 17-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think LSU should be able to come out and just dominate that game. Good stat game. Put their names on the map offensively because there's nothing left to prove this year. You know, go out, win your last 3 games, get you a nice bowl game. Try to get to Atlanta or Dallas and see what you can get.
Do you think that they cover that 17 points? Boy, that's hard to do. 11 a.m. kickoff, one of your rivals. I don't care who it, you know, you're playing for a trophy. This one means a lot to Arkansas because they lost the boot.
Yes and no. It means a lot to Arkansas because they haven't had the boot in a while, but it means a lot more to LSU because going forward, they have a lot to prove going forward. You know, even though they lost that game to Alabama, or you know, I think LSU should go out there and dominate by a 17-point margin, if not more.
Okay. Hey, speaking of domination, Southern at Texas Southern in Houston at BBVA Compass Stadium. This should be what we call our stat patter of the week. Southern should really just blow up right here, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, they're doing it. They're having a great year. I think the big game to watch for this year is going into the Bayou Classic. In fact, we had Southern on our cover this month for the magazine on LouisianaGridironFootball.com. You can get your issue. We actually sit down with Danny Johnson and talked to him and did a full story about him. He's actually, I think he's coming into as a sleeper going into this next year's draft.
Yeah.
I think he could probably go somewhere around 5th round if he can sneak his way up even higher, you know, depending on how he does at the combine.
And I think you're starting to see some of that talent seep back into the SWAC. You talk about Grambling with a couple of their guys that can maybe go to the combine. Talk about Aaron Tiller, who maybe can fit into the right system in the NFL. Danny Johnson, I think, and this has been my opinion the whole season, is that type of talent that you can see absolutely playing on Sundays. What's your opinion?
I think the SWAC is getting a lot more talent. You know, like, you know, Grambling has a ton of talent. You know, I think that's the next team we're going to talk about is Grambling. You got Carl Wilmer, who's a sophomore at Grambling, started last year on the national championship team, again starting again this year at right guard. You know, he's 6'6". He should have been signed by any SE team. Pick one. You know, and he's playing at Grambling because his film looked bad. So yes, Aaron Taylor, outside linebacker, I think he's good. He's going to creep in somehow. And then you got, again, Danny Johnson. I think he could creep in somewhere around 3rd, the 5th round, a middle round guy, depending on how he does at the combine. You know, how he shows up. If he runs that 4.4 40 or low 4.5s, right, he's going to be able to sneak into the draft somewhere. He actually told us in the story. He actually told us in our interview that one of the guys he models himself after is Kendall Beckwith. You know, last year's 3rd round draft pick from LSU. They went to high school together. He was 1 year ahead of Danny Johnson. He just hopes to play with him one day again. So we're playing on the same team with him, if not, you know.
Hopefully it's not for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here for Houdat fans here and there. Let's talk about Grambling. Boy, surprising result, to say the least, at UAPB. Just someone they should just knock down from the word go. And they let him back in the game, and now they travel to Alabama State. Maybe a little bit of a dangerous game here for Grambling?
I don't think so. I think everybody has that one bad game. You know, Grambling, I don't think nobody beats them this year.
It was the wake-up call that they needed.
I think it is. I think it was that wake-up call they really needed. Because, I mean, let's face it, in the SWAC, the only team that can really compete with Grambling right now is Southern. Yeah. That's why I'm looking forward to the Bayou Classic this year. Outside of that, they're going to win the SWAC. If they beat Southern, they're going to win the SWAC, and they're going to play the Meek team. whoever's going to be, and then they're going to dominate that game and be the national champions again.
Let's talk about a game that may get some national play here in Louisiana. FAU, you got the Fighting Lane Kiffins coming to Ruston, Louisiana, and by the way, the Bulldogs, 5.5-point underdogs. They're at their own stadium. That can't play well around Ruston in North Louisiana. How do you kind of see the Eagles and Dogs fighting it out?
The Eagles right now haven't lost a game in their conference, so right now they're number 1. So La Tech, I picked them to be the winner of this team, unless it comes down to that 1 point again. They've lost 2 or 3 games this year by 1 point. But if they hang with them in the fourth quarter, look to see La Tech squeak out a win here.
In the words of the Nature Boy, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Right.
So you got to take down FAU if you're going to want some of that conference recognition. Another stat patter, unfortunately, maybe Ole Miss at home against UL. The Raging Cajuns going on the road. This is a 20-point spread that we're talking about. Is this really a 3-touchdown game, or is this one that if you're Mark Hudspeth's players, you go, look, everything's against us, and we're on the road, and maybe they're looking past us. Maybe we can sneak up on the Rebs.
I don't know. I mean, UL played Texas A&M earlier this year, and they played them very well. Again, you got to play Ole Miss, who just got dominated 2 weeks ago by LSU. So can UL go out there? I think they can. I think they can hang with them offensively. Defensively, I don't know if they can stop them. If they don't get that good push up front, they won't. If they can get a decent push with their defensive line, outside line, and their linebackers, they can be able to hang with them a little bit. However, you are facing one of the top offenses in the country in the SEC. Shea Patterson we saw him at LSU. He's a good quarterback. He has a good receiving core. We'll have to wait and see.
Let's talk about the Green Wave rolling into East Carolina. You said it was a young team there for the Pirates. Let's talk about Tulane, because they're actually favored in this game, even though they're on the road. What do you kind of see from them? What have you seen the last few weeks from them?
What I've seen out of them is they can run the ball very well.
Obviously,
yeah. Jonathan Banks is really controlling that offense very well. I mean, he's having a great year. He has over 300 yards rushing this year, 1,200 yards passing. He's just performed really well with that offense. And then on defense, you got Perry Nickerson, who's having a dominant year, who's going to be a good draft pick. It's that time of the year. It's the last month of college football, so we start talking about draft now. So Perry Nickerson has earned himself enough recognition to get drafted probably in the early third round pick this next year. He's just been a lockdown corner for the Tulane Green Wave. The other side, not so much, Yeah. But Perry Nickerson's going to be a dominant force in defense.
An in-state game that we're going to have our eye on, by the way, Northwestern State. Boy, they closed it out last week. Can they maybe sneak up on the Pokes of McNeese State? Because remember, it's almost like they play up to their competition, play down to their competition. What do you kind of see in this matchup?
You said it best. They play up to their competition and play down. I think it's going to be a close game. They always play McNeese close. McNeese has got a great offense. James Tabry has over 2,000 yards passing already this year. I'm going to select him as one of the All-Americans for the FCS because he's just had a great season. Him and Chase Forcade, both. I'm going to select both of them for the All-American this year. But they've had some great offensive year.
And you have Nicholls State going just down the road there to SFA, Axum Jacks. What do you kind of see from the Colonels on the road? This should be a win, right?
It should be a win. It's going to be a close win. Okay. Stephen F. Austin is a good program historically. They haven't been this year. They haven't had those dominant wins that we've seen in the past from them. But this should be a close game.
Louisiana College wrapping up their season out there kind of in Central Texas and in Brownwood. This should also be a win for Louisiana College, but what do you kind of, since this is their last week, what do you kind of take away from their season? It hasn't been what you expected, right?
No, it's not. I think they finally found their replacement for Easton Melanson from last year. Wayne Griffin, freshman quarterback, has thrown 300 yards last week, even though they lost to the #1 team, but it was a very good loss. I mean, it's like LSU last week playing Alabama. This is the same time of play on D3 level. You're talking about, it's a great football game they had. It's a lot closer than I ever predicted than we talked about last week. I thought there was going to be a lot further separation points. But Wayne Griffin had 300 yards passing last week against the #1 ranked team in the country. Shedrick Davis, again, had another dominant performance. They have 3 receivers that's in the top 5 of D3 football right now in yards per game. So you have a lot of good talent at Louisiana College. They didn't play up to their expectations this year. I think going into next year, they're going to lose. They're going to lose Cedric Davis, and I think he's going to find a team. I think he's going to be a walk-on for. I think he'll be a rookie free agent next year for some NFL team. But the rest of the receivers return. You know, you have a freshman quarterback who's thrown again 300 yards against the #1 team in the nation last week, coming back. I think they've learned a lot of themselves this year. They found who their starters are going to be. Moving forward into next year, I think they're going to be a dangerous team.
What do you think this week between the Cats and the Jackets?
I think the Cats win this game big time.
Going out on a winning note there for Louisiana College. Also going out on a winning note right here. Andy Bryson with LouisianaGridironFootball.com for your college football predictions.